North Shore 104.9 WBOQ Gloucester. And streaming worldwide on the North Shore 104.9 app.
It's time for John Paul, the Car Doctor, on North Shore 104.9. Call today with your car questions, comments, or concerns. 1-800-370-1049. That's 1-800-370-1049. John Paul, the Car Doctor.
And good Saturday morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Car Doctor on North Shore 104.9. My name's John Paul, the Car Doctor. I work for the AAA Auto Club. If you read the AAA publication or you see the AAA newsletters that go out either in paper form or electronically, or if you joined me on the AAA Twitter page last week, that's how, last week, I guess almost. And this Friday, actually coming up, we're going to be doing a Facebook Live. So keep an eye on Facebook, the AAA Northeast Facebook page. We'll do a Facebook Live, live from my basement, just like I'm doing the radio show here today. And every time the fantastic Jimmy Carter does that announcement for the show, when he says, call in with your questions, comments, I expect to hear criticism in that intro somewhere, but don't call in with your criticisms. Well, you can if you want. That's fine. Hey, these are some challenging times we have coming up. A lot of people aren't working. I talked about a neighbor of mine who, her and her boyfriend have been delivering meals to out-of-work restaurant employees. I think they've done like 300 and some odd lasagna meals using her mother's lasagna recipe, I think. Using Dolly Bandera's lasagna recipe, but this is Nikki Bandera and her boyfriend Billy Cook, and it's tough times. There's you see the lines, people waiting in line for food at some of the food pantries. AAA is going out, and we're actually working with the Meals on Wheels people, and we're using some of our vehicles to deliver meals. So this is a tough time, but everybody who's out there is trying. They're trying their best. But sometimes there's some ways to save money. And with us on the phone this doesn't happen very often, a coworker of mine, Shaun McGee. He's the Vice President of Financial Services for AAA Northeast. And he's going to maybe tell us how to save a little bit of money. Good morning, Shaun, and welcome to the Car Doctor program.
Good morning, John. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate the advice you give. The last time you were on, we were talking about refinancing car loans, and a lot of times people never think about that. They get their car loan, they pay whatever it is. They don't think anything about it. It's like, I guess I got to pay this loan for the next 3 or 4 or 5 years or however long it is. But there's some options out there where people can refinance and save a little bit of money each month, right?
Well, that's very true, and I think if you're spring cleaning your financing right now, or you're managing your budget, as you were saying, I think refinancing your car loan is probably the right thing to do. One of the stories that I always like to start off with when I'm talking about refinancing a vehicle and why it makes sense is it was my very own daughter and son-in-law. I was doing their car loan for them, refinancing it, and my daughter looked over and she said, "But Dad, why are we doing this? We're only saving like $20 a month." So I looked at her and I said, "Well, Meg, let me ask you a question. If you were walking down the street and you saw a $20 bill lying on the corner, would you bend over and pick it up? And then what about next month? You saw a $20 bill. Would you bend over and pick it up? And the month after that, and the month after that, and every month for the next 60 months, would you bend over and pick it up?" Well, I think you would. But you know what you'd have in your hand at the end of the day? You'd have $1,200. And that's $1,200 that you would have paid somebody that you just don't have to.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I was in sort of the same boat years ago. I have a little cottage on Cape Cod, and there was we were actually offering a home equity loan, and it wasn't gonna. There was no cost involved, and I kept the same payments. I kept the same length of loan, and I think I saved $35 or $40 a month. And somebody said to me, "Oh, you're not really saving it. Somebody's saving $40 a month." And I'm like, "Well, that's almost $500 a year." and it's $500 a year I could go spend on something more fun than giving it to the bank.
Well, absolutely. The number one reason to refinance your loan really is to save money. There's a lot of people that are driving the cars and have loans on them, and they couldn't even begin to tell you what the interest rate was. But we see it day in and day out. Loans at 4%, 5%, even 7 or 8% interest rate. We can take that loan, lower the interest rate. The lower the interest rate means a lower payment, and a lower payment means that you're just saving a lot more money. Yeah. The other thing that could happen, though, too, is we could extend the term. And that really helps bring the payment down. It doesn't necessarily help you save money, but if you're trying to manage your budget better, we could extend that payment so you're paying back over a longer period of time, which will also bring the payment down. There's even situations that we've helped people do both. Reduce the interest rate and extend the term, and then they get the best of both worlds and a real low payment.
And just because you extended the payment doesn't mean you can't look at it again in 6 months or a year or 2 years or whatever it is.
You can refinance a car loan at any point in time. Absolutely, John, you're absolutely correct. You could extend the term now, get the interest rate down, get a real manageable payment to get you through the tough time, and then take a look a year from now and do it again, shorten the term, and get out of the loan quick. So
yeah, no, that makes sense. And one of the things, and I've been looking, and I'm sure you've seen all the car company commercials out there, and somebody just came out with I think it's an 84-month car loan, and I look at that and I'm like, you're out of your mind. That's a long time to finance a car that is going to depreciate and break down. As a professional in the finance world, what do you think of those extraordinarily long car loans?
My personal feeling is it's too long. They are out there, the 6-7 year car loans, but it is a long time. I'd caution everybody, if you're going to finance a car for that long, make sure you have gap insurance on it too. Get the gap coverage. Because the car, you're absolutely correct. The car is going to depreciate faster than the loan amortizes, and you could have a much larger loan balance. So if something happened to that vehicle, it either got stolen or it got involved in an accident, the insurance company is going to pay you the actual cash value of that vehicle, but you could owe substantially more than that. So if you have that gap coverage, you won't have to come out of pocket for that difference. The gap will pay it. And that's my advice for a long car loan term like that. Very typically, we see 5 years, 60 months being about the longest people will go. So we do make longer car loans than that, but people generally keep it in the 5-year range. Yeah.
Now, if someone's going to refinance a car loan, how much work is it? Is it something that can be done pretty easily, and especially in these times, can all be done with sort of social distancing?
Well, better than that. AAA has come up with a way that we can do the entire loan electronically, and you can complete the entire thing from the comforts of your own couch. We have an application. Go to AAA.com, the Loans and Banking tab. There's an application right there. It's up and running 24/7. We'll get you approved, and then when it comes time to close, you're home now, and we, quite frankly, want you to stay there. We do want to see you again, but we want you to stay there. We don't want you coming out. So what we'll do is we'll email you a closing package where you can electronically sign the note and then email it back to us, and it's all done. We'll pay off your old loan, and you'll end up with a new loan with the lower payment, and you'll be saving money. But you never have to leave the house to get it done. You can stay right there. Everyone's home. Just stay there. Take a look at what you're paying on your car loan now. Find out what the interest rate is. And, we've got rates that run as low as 2.99. So we're helping out a ton of people all day long, and we'd like to help everybody else out as well. You know, when you go out to buy a car, people will, on average, they'll spend about 30 or 45 days researching a vehicle. And they'll look at reports and read reviews and do test drives and figure out which model is best, and then take a look at colors and configurations and options and all the rest of it. And then when it comes time to do the financing, they just take what's offered without really looking at it or thinking about it. But the good news is you're not stuck with that financing. You can refinance it. Take a look, see what it is, give us a call. We'll run through a couple of scenarios with you and see how much money we could save you.
Yeah, and unlike years ago, cash isn't king at a dealership. They would rather have you finance it.
They would. You know, I think more and more the dealers aren't making money on the sale of the car. They're making money on the financing and the sale of the ancillary products.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of which, you know, I bought a car in 2018, and while I was there, I admit to not being the best negotiator in the world, but I kind of knew what was going on. And at the, you know, after I had to sit with the obligatory sales and finance guy, and I said to him, I've signed all the paperwork. You know, you'll have your money on Monday. What did you make on this car? And he looks at me, he spins his computer around. He says, we lost $1,200 on this sale. And I know they actually didn't really lose $1,200, but they didn't make money on it either, because they sold me a base model and it didn't have anything in it, and I didn't buy anything extra. But then while I was there, I was looking at a purchase and sales agreement, and he left the room, which probably he shouldn't have done, and leaving paperwork out on his desk. But I noticed that there was somebody who bought gap insurance. They bought wheel and tire insurance. They bought key fob insurance. They bought a whole bunch of other stuff, including, I think there was some paint protection. By the time it was done, I think it added $4,000 or $5,000 to the loan package that they were doing, and people don't think of it sometimes, and they go, well, it just rolls into the loan. It's another $25, $30, $40 a week, month, whatever it is. But we have a wheel and tire package and key fob insurance and paintless, which includes paintless dent removal. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. That's one of the latest products that we've rolled out, and it's a bundled package. So it's tire and wheel. We call it a tire and wheel product, but it's tire and wheel on steroids, as you said, because it covers a lot more than just tires and wheels. But let's start with the tire. And this product can be purchased for anywhere from 1 year to 7 years, so 12 months to 84 months. You can pick any term that you want, and that's the period of time that you're going to be protected for. So it doesn't necessarily have to tie to the loan. You could buy it separately. You could buy it outside of the loan. It really isn't connected to the loan itself. But if you put it in the loan, you can just finance it over time, and it does make it very easy. The first piece of it, though, is tire and wheel protection. So if you're driving down the road and you hit a pothole and you blow out your tire, that tire is going to be replaced. And if you hit that pothole so hard that you dent your rim, the rim is either going to be repaired or replaced. And this is unlimited over the period of time. So if you buy a 5-year plan and you blow out your tire 47 times, it's going to be replaced 47 times. It's unlimited repairs for the tire and wheels. So
if you get somebody like that, if you do get somebody like that, can you have them call me? They need some help.
The second piece of it is the paintless dent repair. So you're in in the good old days, you were in a parking lot at a supermarket and the wind blows a cart into your door and you get a ding in there. That ding will be replaced. You know, it'll be straightened out. It doesn't cover paint, so it's just if the paint is cracked or scratched, it doesn't cover that. But if it's just a dent, all those dents will be popped out. And again, that's unlimited coverage over the same period of time.
And that's something that is relatively expensive. My wife's car, when it was literally a month old, exactly that scenario happened. A shopping cart or something hit it, put a ding in the door. If the car was a year or two old, I probably wouldn't have thought anything of it, but it's a black car, and black cars show every dent and ding. And every time I looked at it, it bothered me. So I went to a paintless dent removal place that happened to be right up the street from where the AAA main office is in Providence. And it was the quickest $100 I had ever spent in my life. I said to the guy, "Can you fix this?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, no problem." And I said, "Well, I'll just go for a walk. I'll go get a Coke or something. I'll be back." And literally by the time I was back, the car's sitting outside and he's drinking a cup of coffee, and I'm like, and the dent was gone, but it was literally the quickest $100 I've ever spent. So, and it looked perfect, and now literally 4 or 5 years later, it still looks fine. So, it is pretty amazing stuff. So it's wheel and tire, paintless dent removal, and
then the third piece that's in there too is key replacement or key fob replacement, either one. But most new cars today have a key fob, and they're expensive if you lose one. I was talking to somebody yesterday that actually lost one, went to the dealer, and they paid $375 to get this key fob replaced. Some of the more expensive cars, those key fobs can run $600, $700, $800 a piece.
Yeah, I looked at one on a BMW. It was $1,200.
Yeah. So let me just give you an idea, though, John. And we're talking about how much things cost here, but if we take a look at the average car that's on the road today. Yeah. Now, I drive a Toyota. We also have a Suburban in the household. My wife drives a Suburban. Both of those cars, very, very different cars, but they're in the same class of vehicle. So the average vehicle that's on the road today, if you bought this tire and wheel package protection for 5 years, we're selling that for $585. And the dealer's probably getting 3 times that. Quite probably. We see it quite often that way. Yeah.
No, that is pretty fantastic. And the other thing, since we're kind of doing AAA plugs here, the other thing is we have an extended service contract.
We do. We have a number of different vendors that we deal with on the extended warranties. They can get tricky, and everyone's heard different stories about extended warranties, and oftentimes you'll buy a package thinking that it covered something, and it really didn't. We shy away from those. We really don't offer them. We want people to, when it comes time and they think they bought something, we want them to know that they did buy it and they can get the coverage that they have. So we predominantly focus our efforts on, let's call it the bumper-to-bumper warranty. Yep. And that's really kind of a misnomer, too, because it doesn't cover bumpers, but it covers everything in between.
Yeah.
All the mechanical pieces in between. Yeah. But that's where you get your coverage, and it in that type of coverage, it's going to tell you the things that it excludes, not the things that it would cover. Yeah. So it's a much better package.
Yeah. I've been at AAA forever, and over the years, I've seen the different companies we have kind of come and gone out of the business, but AAA's always been there to protect our members if that does happen. And unfortunately, that's not the case when you see an advertisement on television. You say, "Hey, that looks like a really great deal," and then you find out 2 years later, it's a PO box somewhere, and it's not, and they're not there to help you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. So
that's our model.
Always.
Serve, so.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Shaun, I always learn something when I talk to you. It's always a pleasure. If people want more information, it's real simple. Just go to AAA.com and they can find out all kinds of information about all the different products that we have available to try to help them. Everything from refinancing that car loan to that, like you said, the wheel and tire insurance. And, they may even read a little bit about me at the same time. So you never know.
Couldn't have said it better, John.
All right. Hey, Shaun, thanks. Be well, stay safe, and we'll all be in the office at some point.
At some point, look forward to seeing you again.
Yeah, okay, take care. Bye-bye.
All right, thanks.
That was Shaun McGee. That was Shaun McGee, the Vice President of Finance for AAA, and giving us some great information about how to save a little bit of money in this tough time. Why don't we take a break, pay some bills, and I think when we come back, we might be talking to Marcy Fisher at some point from Ford about how Ford is going to produce some safety equipment for the first responders out there. My name's John Paul. This is the Car Doctor program. You're listening on North Shore 104.9. We'll be right back.
Well, Erica, have a great weekend. We have a big Monday lined up. We're going to have our good friend David Russo on. We need some jokes, don't we?
We need some laughter, absolutely. So definitely join us Monday. We're going to be back live at 6. We'll be joined by Dave Russo, and then of course we'll have Mark Friedman on and all of our great guests keeping you up to date with what's happening with coronavirus in the health field, the legal field, and with the Senate. Tune in to Erica and Donnie in the morning.
We'll talk to you Monday morning at 6. Have a great weekend.
Erica and Donnie in the morning on North Shore 104.9.
Join us this Sunday at 7 a.m. for Dirty Work Hard Pay on the Shot to talk about all your home projects. Dirty Work this Sunday at 7 on North Shore 104.9.
All roadside assistance is not created equal. A car can break down anytime and anywhere. Join AAA, the roadside provider that puts you first. AAA covers you in any car you're driving or riding in. Our trained technicians arrive fast and usually fix the problems on the spot. Trust your safety to the most recommended roadside provider in the U.S. Join AAA today at AAA.com/join. That's AAA.com/join.
My name's Kevin Michaud. I'm a dad and I'm a husband. We at Michaud Mitsubishi have taken extreme measures to clean our showrooms, to practice social distancing, and I just wanted to reach out and put some of you folks at ease. I brainstormed with a lot of local business owners, and we realized that there's a necessity to stay open. We know that a lot of folks are still working, and they need to get to where they're going to work. If you need your car service, and we don't just service Mitsubishi, we service everything, we are open. And right now, we have just done employee pricing. What an employee pays for service is what you will pay. We have also done that with employee purchasing. My son here, Zachary, is with me.
That's right, Dad. We've been here for you at Michaud Mitsubishi, and we'll continue to be here for you. Interest rates right now are at the lowest I've ever seen them. Certain banks are deferring payments up to 120 days. With that being said, we're here for you if you need a new or used vehicle. Simply go on our website, michaudauto.com, or check our Facebook page for the latest news.
This is Kevin Michaud from Michaud Mitsubishi in Danvers, and from my family to yours, stay safe, and we'll get through this together.
At Cranny, we know indoor air quality is important to a healthy home, but not everyone knows that indoor air quality can be 2 to 5 times more polluted than outside air. Your home's air may be contaminated with particles and humidity that could increase the likelihood of health risks. Having air quality control devices such as humidifiers, dehumidifiers, air scrubbers, and UV light filters can improve the quality of your air. Let Cranny help you breathe easier. Cranny Home Services, your indoor air quality experts.
On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again. The life I love is making music with my friends. I can't wait to get on the road again.
And welcome back to the Car Doctor program. Well, I'm not on the road technically, but I am here. So, no. Well, there are people on the road. I shouldn't say that. There are. I was out the other day, and I was surprised the amount of people on the road. Hey, with us on the phone is Marcy Fisher. She is the director of Global Body Exterior and Interior Engineering for Ford Motor Company, and Ford is doing some great stuff right now, trying to keep people safe. Marcy, good morning, and welcome to the Car Doctor program on North Shore 104.9.
Good morning.
Well, I was on one of your webinars a couple weeks ago, and it was pretty fascinating because you guys sort of, and I may have the wrong mission, but you guys sort of use the Apollo 13 kind of model of when they were trapped in space, let's see, we have duct tape, we have cardboard, we have other stuff. Let's see what we can make out of it. And you guys kind of did the same thing with trying to put together safety equipment for first responders, right?
Yeah, that's right. The crisis is on top of us, so our thought process is we got to go fast and get help out to the healthcare providers as soon as possible. So, what could we use off the shelf, and how can we also leverage the existing suppliers, manufacturing expertise that we've got, et cetera. So kind of leveraging our current capacities and figuring out how to bring these things into the market just as quickly as we possibly can.
So it's sort of like, on Thursday night when we haven't gone to the supermarket yet, and we look in the refrigerator and go, let's see, we'll take a little of this, a little of that, and we'll end up with a great meal with it afterwards. And you sort of did the same thing. You took like the ventilator fans for seats and you used those to make powered air purifying respirators, right? Exactly.
So, this air purifying respirator has a blower motor in it. And so, the first thing we think is, well, we have blower motors, right? So
right.
Let's grab one of those and, let's hook that up and let's start from there. And, that allows you to go fast, right? You don't have to tool it and build the equipment around the things that we can grab off the shelf. And for things that we didn't have something off the shelf, we found really fast ways to tool it or procure it.
Yeah, and I got to think from an engineering standpoint, it's sort of fun.
It is. It really is. We're having a blast. Working like crazy, but around a very singular mission. We're very humbled to be able to serve the healthcare workers and the first responders. And you're right. We have had some fun. It's always it's always challenging. It's very nerve-wracking. Trying to very quickly design and engineer something, and then cross your fingers when you start doing your testing. And those are the good days. You get a test back, and great, the filter works. Yeah,
exactly. And the old joke is, that's why it's called WD-40, because the first 39 times it didn't work. And so I'm sure there is a little bit of that. And even there was. In one of the releases I read, it was something about scaling up production of gowns and testing collection kits. And I know in Connecticut, there was a company, and it's to show you how diverse this kind of is, there was a company that I think they make insulation jackets for water heaters. And they said, it's a breathable material, but it's impervious to liquid. It might make a good gown for first responders. And you guys kind of did the same thing, right?
Yeah. We saw this shortage, as we were distributing our face shields that we made, by the way, 4 million of those that we've made so far and distributed out to the healthcare workers to help keep them safe.
And let's back up a little bit. Let's back up a little bit, though. 4 million. That's a lot. That's
a lot. We found a really simple design, actually an open space design, and we pulled that and got our procurement people on board. We looked at the design. We figured out how to use some of our existing suppliers that make foam for us, and that's the part that goes on, against your forehead and the shield. So crank that up, and then our one of Ford Motor Company's wholly owned subsidiaries, Troy Design, is making these, and we just keep expanding because the need for these and the demand for them is just endless. So every week we've scaled up, and in very short period of time, we've gotten 4 million of them out.
That's amazing. And the gowns and the testing collection kits, when when a first responder, nurse, doctor, whatever, goes to meet with a patient or a potential patient, like you said, the face shields, they need to be insulated. They need to have a barrier between them and the patient. And the gowns are equally important, but also when they're doing corona testing, swab testing, they need something to do with the sample afterwards, so they need a kit. And I know that was one of the challenges. They could come up, the doctor's offices could come up with the swab, but they didn't have the thing to put it in afterwards. And you guys help with that too, right?
Yeah, we worked with a company called Thermo Fisher Scientific, and they're based in Kansas. And our engineering team that is from our Kansas City assembly plant, being sort of neighbors, they jumped in and helped them set up additional collection kit production equipment, and helped also adapt some of their existing equipment so that they could get more of these test kits out. So, pulling in that expertise from our manufacturing team to help increase production, get the tests out there faster.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, how all of this comes together. And you mentioned it a couple times in here. It's your partners and your suppliers that have also jumped in with you to be able to get all of this done. Yeah,
the airbag gowns, by the way, there's a huge demand out there for these. We actually saw photos of healthcare workers wearing garbage bags. There's such a shortage. And kind of the same thing, we discovered that the airbag material has the correct properties. And we cranked that production up with our airbag supplier, Joyce and Safety Systems. And they're producing the material for us and doing the cut and sew and getting the gowns. And we're working with our distribution network to get those out to the healthcare workers. And we had great help from our local hospitals as well to help us develop the design of the gown. Tried a few different designs and tweaked the patterns a bit, and they'd give us some feedback on it. So they helped us develop the patterns for it.
Yeah, no, it's pretty amazing stuff. And I guess the other thing is, your kind of competitor across town, you guys have sort of said, hey, let's do what we can to keep people safe, right?
Yeah, we've had several meetings with our competitors, if you will. And this is all about doing what's good for the country, and it's great because you can drop your barriers there. We're all aligned to be doing everything we can. Yeah. No, it makes a lot of makes a lot of sense. If people want to read more about what Ford is doing right now, is there a specific website, or they just go to Ford.com? How's that work? Yeah, if they go to Ford.com, they can see all the different areas that we're working on, gowns and powered air respirators and ventilators and face masks. Got many things going on.
Yeah, no, when companies like Ford Motor Company step up and do the right thing and try to keep people safe, and also, this also helps keep your employees vital and functioning during all of this, which is great too. So, there's a lot of good reasons for all of this and great stuff. And I want to thank you and Ford Motor Company for helping keep all of these people that are out there trying to keep us healthy and safe. I want to thank you for helping keep them healthy and safe.
Yeah, thank you. We're thrilled to be able to serve.
Oh, absolutely. Marcy, thank you for taking a little time out of your Saturday morning and joining us up here in Massachusetts on the Car Doctor radio program.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. That was Marcy Fisher. She is the Director of Global Body, Exterior, and Interior Engineering. I wonder how they fit all that on a business card. It's a lot of work. But she is the director of global body engineering and interior engineering for Ford. And good for them. Good for Ford. Hey, we need to take another break, pay a couple bills, and maybe we'll be talking to Warren Waugh when we come back. We'll see. My name's John Paul. This is the Car Doctor program. We'll be right back.
The Century House in Peabody is committed to offering curbside pickup for takeout breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Please order in advance by calling 978-531-1410. The Century House is open for takeout every day from 7 a.m. till 8 p.m. and delivery service is available to surrounding communities. The Epicurean shop is open 7 days a week from 9 to 5 with ready-to-heat meats and sides. Call 978-531-1410 or visit online centuryhousepeabody.com.
Hello, this is Francine DeWicke from the law offices of Spano & DeWicke. Are you looking to plan for your future while maintaining social distancing? Our firm offers video conferencing and other meeting options to bring you peace of mind from the comfort of your home. Please give us a call.
The professionals at Spano & DeWicke will guide you through these challenging times. Call the experts at Spano & DeWicke today. 781-231-7800. 781-231-7800. Or visit them online at SpanoDeWicke.com.
Hey, not all road service providers are the same. And hey, look, am I prejudiced about it? Yeah, I've worked for AAA for 35 years. So, yeah, AAA, the best road service provider. If you're not a AAA member and you haven't won a free AAA membership on the program, this would be a good time to join because they're actually offering some really good deals right now. So go to AAA.com and go to the membership section. Look at the deals. I think it's a 2-for-1 deal, so go check it out. And there's different levels of AAA membership, basic, plus, and premier, depending on what suits your needs. Most people settle in for the AAA plus. Works out great, 100 miles of towing, all good stuff. So again, if you're thinking about road service, no better place to look than AAA and AAA.com/join. We'll be right back.
Erica, you in the mood for a cocktail?
Always, Donnie.
Well, let's be gin with Nautical American Gin. Don't you love that? I love that laugh. Nautical American Gin will make everybody laugh. It's a good time. It's 15 different botanicals, with our signature botanical being a Pacific kombu, which is a sea salt. See?
You got to bring liquid to your lips, Donnie.
It's amazing when you try it. Nautical American Gin is available at your favorite restaurant or liquor store. Just go in and ask for Nautical American Gin.
In the blue-green bottle with the flat back.
Nice.
And let's be gin.
There you go. And from all of us at Nautical and Gin, please enjoy and let's be gin and discover responsibly.
Locally owned and operated since 1992, ABH is your one-stop shop for all your disposal needs. From cleanouts to demolition, to dumpster rentals to curbside trash collection, ABH does it all. They can dispose of anything you don't want. I mean anything. Serving the North Shore and the greater Boston area for over 20 years, ABH does it all. Call today, 781-941-2422, or visit their website, abhservicesinc.com.
This weather report is brought to you by Cranny Home Services. Cranny is available for you if you need plumbing, electrical, heat, and air conditioning. They're practicing safe distancing precautions to keep you safe. For more information, visit crannyhomeservices.com.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mark Rosenthal. Here is your North Shore 1049 forecast, serving the North Shore and the Merrimack Valley. Cloudy, cold overnight, rain or wet snow breaking out, rapidly going to all wet snow. Temps falling back to near freezing. Could be snowing at a pretty good clip tomorrow morning, but it's done around midday. Total snow accumulation of 3 to perhaps as much as 6 inches. It'll be near 40 during the afternoon. Then we go the other way on Sunday. Sun clouds, much milder, low and mid-60s, with a chance of spring-like showers here by Sunday night. Forecast being brought to you by John J. Walsh Insurance Agency, with locations in Salem and Rockport for all your home, auto, and business insurance needs. Offering competitive rates, so call for a quote, 978-745-3300. For local North Shore 1049, I'm Mark Rosenthal.
Trucking, got my chips cashed in, keep trucking, like the Dog Man together. More or less in line, just keep trucking on.
And and welcome back to the Car Doctor program on North Shore 104.9. My name's John Paul, the Car Doctor here, and we've had a action-packed show today. Shaun McGee from AAA to talk to us about some options on how to save a little bit of money. Marcy Fisher, the Director of Global Body Exterior and Interior Engineering for Ford, to talk about how Ford is producing some powered air-purifying respirators. And what did she say? They made 4 million face shields? Yeesh. 4 million of anything's a lot. And now we have Warren Waugh with us. And Warren is... Warren, you have a bunch of car dealerships. Let's start there.
I'm very lucky. I have some wonderful car dealerships and brands.
Yeah, how long ago was it that you opened up the Land Rover dealership?
That was in 1996. I remember you coming to the intro.
And one of the things that amazed me was it was the most casual dressed dealership I ever went to, because I think everybody was wearing like khaki shorts and shirts, and everybody looked comfortable, and everybody was having a really good time.
I know, and they still do that. Not to the same degree, but they certainly still. We don't have a real dress code there, so they're allowed to still wear their khaki shorts and short sleeve shirts.
Yeah, and do you still have the test track?
We don't. As we expanded with Jaguar, it just was taking up too much space. And I have to tell you, I really miss it. It was a great selling tool, and I think it looked pretty cool out there on Route 1.
It did, and I remember the story that was told about the kid that took his dad's Explorer up over the track without asking permission, and he couldn't get out the doors afterwards because Explorers just don't hold up like Land Rovers do.
Well, it twisted into a new shape, and the exhaust system popped off, and off he drove down Route 1 with the exhaust system dangling from the back of the car.
You guys had a laugh a little bit. Let's talk about before we talk about the business a little bit. Like you said, you're pretty blessed to have a really premium selection of cars. Porsche, of course, I remember years ago, I was actually a third-party arbitrator for Porsche back in the day where there was kind of the 924 and the 928, and Porsche was selling maybe less than 2,000 cars in the United States. And now, Porsche sells cars and trucks and four-door sedans, which people would think was unbelievable. And but I was talking to a woman the other day, and I was mentioning something about a Porsche Cayenne that I saw, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I know a couple people with those. They really enjoy driving them because it's not soccer mom's SUV."
Yeah, we would not. To be very candid with you, as the world has changed, if we did not add sport utilities to that lineup, I'm not sure that Porsche would have been as viable as it is today, and the brand that it is without our Macans and Cayennes. And even going back a little bit before that, we introduced the Panamera as our sports sedan, and that was the start of many changes to the Porsche lineup.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that was, I remember the president of Porsche came out to the New England Motor Press meeting when we used to meet at the Boston Globe, and he started to talk about coming out with an SUV. And I kind of joked with him that, when Porsche comes out with an SUV, he'll come out with a plow to put on the front of it. And about a year later, he came back and he said, "Did you build that plow yet? Because we built the SUV." And I'm like, no, sorry. But yeah, no, I mean, pretty amazing stuff. And, Jaguar, another dealership in your lineup. And, Jaguar over time, they're owned by a different company now, but they're still Jaguars, and they're really nice Jaguars. And, the sports car, for instance, the F-Type is certainly, there's a car that kind of wears its heart on its sleeve. It's a fantastic car to drive, and Jaguar didn't stop. You guys have an electric SUV.
We do, the I-Pace, and when we're talking about sport utilities and how important they are to the lineup, and just about every lineup or brand that we have, SUVs lead the sales board every month, and that's the same with Jaguar and Porsche. We're so dependent on them.
Yeah, no, they're people still want that utility, but they don't want a car. They don't want a sport utility vehicle that handles like a 1975 Biscayne wagon. They want a sport utility vehicle that handles like a sports sedan, and whether it's Porsche, Jaguar, Audi, BMW, or Mercedes, or Acura for that matter. They're all fantastic handling cars, and in a lot of cases, some real high horsepower vehicles as well.
I know. We go back so far into the automotive past, John, and if you think about the statistics that used to amaze us in the 70s with the Porsche 911 Turbo and how fast it was, and oh my goodness, it goes 0 to 60 at below 6 seconds, and that was an amazing statistic to accomplish. And now you have sport utilities that are going 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds. And, it's just amazing what the automotive engineers have done, along with increasing fuel economy. And like you said earlier, introducing electrification to the different lineups.
Yeah, no, it is really amazing. And I said this to two people so far this week that, a lot of people think of the 20s and as the golden age of the automobile. I think this is the golden age of the automobile, because you look at what's out there for vehicles and how they perform. It really just is amazing. And, but we're in some challenging times now with the COVID-19 and concerns about health and all of that. What are your dealerships up to, and how are they trying to work through this?
Well, to be quite frank, back in March, towards the end of the month, I decided, we were only going to be allowed in Massachusetts to leave the service departments open. And the reality of safety and trying to make a couple of dollars in service, the safety aspect of it made it a simple decision. It outweighed any dollar that would come from service. And so I closed every one of our dealerships and told everyone to go home. And it was a tough decision, one of the most difficult ones I've ever had to make, because I did have team members that wanted to stay on the payroll, keep working on cars, but I couldn't be that dealer that took that chance. And, I'm sleeping better because of it.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, because I was talking to a shop foreman at a dealership, a high-end dealership, and he said, yeah, they have us coming in. And he said, basically, we stand around and we stare at each other for half a day, and then we go home. He said, I'd rather be home. And, the occasional car that comes in, he said, by the time we get done cleaning it and wiping it down and doing all that, he said, it just isn't really worth it. And I think, you looked at it and said, the right decision here is to keep my employees and my customers safe. And that sounds exactly like what you're doing.
It was a simple decision. My family had asked me to get into seclusion myself about 10 days before, and I'm going on over a month. I have snuck out a couple of times, but due to some bronchial issues, I was, it was an easy decision to make, even though they did have to twist my arm. And what's good for me is good for the staff. So I'm happy they're home. We've been in great communication with them. We are, taking the the lead from Charlie Baker in Massachusetts and what's going on in New Hampshire. And we plan to open up service again when we're allowed to also open up sales, which would be May 4th. Yeah, I'm not sure that's going to change. We're listening intently to the news on a daily basis, but at the very least, we will open our service departments by May 4th because we simply have to at this point. The demand is ever increasing, and my staff truly wants to get back to work.
Well, yeah, and you're right. I mean, people are driving their cars a little bit. Their cars are still going to need service. Their cars are, good or bad. Cars still have, service issues and recall issues and other things that pop up. And having the service department, you can't stay closed forever. But yeah, having that date in mind, and like you said, and similar to probably like how we are at AAA, we're trying to stay in touch with our coworkers as much as we can because we don't want them to be separated from us. We want the communication to be there, and especially with my experience has been in auto repair that you become family with all of your coworkers, and you want to make sure that they are healthy and safe, but still connected at the same time. And it sounds like that's exactly what you're trying to do.
We are, and communication is the key to all of it. And, we're reassuring them, and we gave them some good news, and my partner and I decided to cover all their health care for the month of April and right through the time they go back to work. So they're, we're looking out for them. They are family. They're an amazing family, and we're over 600 employees strong, and we wouldn't be where we are today without them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And before I let you go, I have to ask a little bit about back to Porsche. Years ago, I knew somebody who worked for your Porsche dealership, and he used to go on and on about a Porsche certified pre-owned and how they were so ridiculously maintained cars with new tires and batteries and new brakes. And is that still the same with Porsche today? The certified pre-owned cars, literally new cars?
Their standards for reconditioning a Porsche are extreme. And not only the warranty that we put on the vehicle, which we purchase, the average reconditioning cost is around $2,500 on a used Porsche. So I would say that's at the top of the reconditioning price chain.
Yeah, pretty amazing stuff. Hey, Warren, when the doors open again and you're back in business, I'd love to have you back on the program again and just kind of talk about what it's like to come back to work again.
I would really enjoy that. I'd love you to come over and take a ride in some of the great cars we have.
Yeah, put me in a fun car. Never sounds like a bad idea to me, at least. So.
Well, that would be great. I took my GT2 out the other day and had a great time with it. So I'd love to get you in that for a spin.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point. You have such a wonderful lineup of cars. Must be hard to decide what you want to drive on a regular basis.
Well, I also have two golden retrievers as roommates, and so they're mostly in the pickup truck, but I always have a sport utility or a station wagon to drive around with them in, and I also have a couple of sports cars nearby that I can grab when they allow me out of my house by myself.
I think being in a 911 GT2 is a good example of social distancing.
I'll tell you, you get to work quick.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Hey, Warren, thanks a lot, and we'll talk soon.
Good to talk to you, John. Take care.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye. We need to take another break. My name's John Paul. We'll be right back.
As one of the largest
largest environmental contractors in the area, the Olson Company is here to assist you in keeping your family safe and disinfecting your home. For more than 50 years, the Olson family has been serving families and businesses on the North Shore. With a simple call to 978-975-4500, their crew will come to your home and fog the interior using Shockwave, an EPA-listed disinfectant. Shockwave will kill the virus from the surface of your home, helping you get through this difficult time. To set up an appointment now, call 978-975-4500. Online at AULSON.com.
Hey, join me, Joe Piantadosi, this Sunday morning, Patriots Day week at 10 a.m. for Breaking Bread, where my guest will be radio talk show host Howie Carr and the director of the BCEC in Boston, David Gibbons. That's Breaking Bread, Sunday morning, 10 a.m. right here on North Shore 104.9.
All roadside assistance is not created equal. A car can break down anytime and anywhere. Join AAA, the roadside provider that puts you first. AAA covers you in any car you're driving or riding in. Our trained technicians arrive fast and usually fix the problems on the spot. Trust your safety to the most recommended roadside provider in the U.S. Join AAA today at AAA.com/join. That's AAA.com/join.
And welcome back to the Car Doctor program on North Shore 104.9. Well, we only have a few minutes left, but we have old buddy Robert from Tyngsboro on the phone with us. Robert, good morning.
Good morning, John. Hope all is well.
Well, you know, I'm still in my little tiny house in my little tiny basement area where you know, it's It does everything I need it to do, and I told my boss the other day I may not come back to work. I'll come back to work. I just may not come back into the office because this I think it's 1 step up, 12 steps up the basement stairs into the kitchen. I kind of like that commute versus the 50 miles each way I was driving back and forth to work.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. My question was on anti-lock brakes. Is it possible for them to unevenly wear, rear or front brakes?
Depending on the vehicle, it has really nothing to do with the anti-lock portion of it. If you pulled out the anti-lock relay and made them conventional brakes again, will front brakes wear differently than rear brakes? Yeah. The front brakes in most cars do about 70% of the stopping. The rear brakes just keep it from spinning around. So if you look at a set of front and rear brake pads, a lot of times the rear brake pads are even thinner right from the beginning because they don't have to be as thick and because they're not going to wear as much.
What about traction control?
Traction control, the way traction control works when, the right rear tire starts to spin, as an example, and the brake applies, and that forces the torque across the differential to the left rear tire. Is it going to cause a little bit of wear? A little bit. Is it going to cause any significant amount? I don't think so. Most of the uneven brake wear that I see today when I'm in different shops and places is brake caliper slides rust and stick, and the brakes wear unevenly because when on a single piston brake caliper, for instance, when the brakes are applied, the big piston pushes against the inside of the brake pad, and that in turn forces the caliper backwards, so the outside brake pad squishes against the brake rotor. Well, if the caliper slide is sticking or rust is built up between the frame of where the brake caliper mounts and the brake caliper, well, what's going to happen is you're going to get all the wear on the inside brake pad and you're going to get none on the outside brake pad, or you could get even a sloppy brake pedal at some point. So that's more where you have it. But, anti-lock brakes by themselves don't cause any additional brake wear. Traction control and stability control, not really that either. So I don't think so. Hey, Robert, we're just about out of time. Always appreciate you calling in. I appreciate you being part of the Car Doctor Radio family, but we got to go because Jimmy wants to go home. So thanks for calling in. Hey, my name's John Paul. This has been the Car Doctor program. I want to thank Jimmy Carter for being the executive producer of the Car Doctor program. Always does a great job. Until next week, make sure you wear your seatbelt, drive safely, be good to your car, cover your face, wash your hands. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Your official at work station, North Shore 104.9 WBOQ Gloucester.